All right. Welcome everyone to our annual webinar. My name is Ashley Matson and I'm the Nursery Operations Specialist here at the Conservation Seedling Nursery. I am also responsible for managing the seed program as well, which we'll talk about later. But here at the Conservation Seedling Nursery, our goal is to provide source-identified quality plant material for restoration and conservation projects throughout the state. And there's some photos of crew working in our fields, loading seedlings onto the delivery truck, and then a picture of me giving a tour. A quick agenda. I will cover the history of the nursery program. We'll talk about our seedlings, what that type of stock is like and how to acquire those. And then I will cover the seed program, which is also called the Montana Native Seed Network. And then I'll talk about procuring seed. Uh-oh, it sounds like some folks might hear my audio cutting in and out. I'm not Hopefully it keeps going. I'll try to talk louder. It sounds like some folks can hear me okay. If folks are having service issues, try closing as many applications as possible, and that might help free up your bandwidth. Um, and then we will also walk through the ordering portal and the nursery website. I'll show you guys how to navigate around those as well, because there's a lot of information that can be found on our website. I try to put everything you need to know on there so that year round you can find the information that you need. And then I will open it up to questions at the very end, and we're going to have folks share their questions in the chat. To just help keep me organized. All right, so the nursery was established in 1927 and then moved to the DNRC in 1952. It is our 99th year producing seedlings, and the entire DNRC complex is 80 acres, and 60 of that is nursery grounds field acreage. And that is highlighted on the right-hand side with the gold border, and the gold star indicates where our office is off of Spurgeon Road. We have 5 greenhouses, but we sow more greenhouses than physical ones we have. Sometimes we can get a second or third sow out of a greenhouse. And then in 2022, the Native Seed Program was established, and I'll dive into some more details about that later. Like I said, our goal is to provide high quality, genetically rich plant material. We really pride ourselves on the quality of our plants. We don't let anything go out the door that we think is poor quality. So we're ensuring that you are getting genetically fit, healthy seedlings for your planting projects. Our material has to be sold in bulk. It's one of the criterias that we operate under. But anyone can buy seedlings from us. Private landowners, tribes, nonprofits, other agencies can all procure seedlings through the nursery. We operate on the sale of our seed and seedlings and any grant opportunities that we can apply for. We don't get a budget from the state every year. We have to survive on the sale of our plant material. And we have 7 permanent staff members, and we can have anywhere between 0 to 8 seasonals working with us at a time. Our nursery manager position is currently vacant. So not only is it a busy time at the nursery, but some of us are having to take on a little bit extra workload just so that we can keep the cycle going. And then hopefully a new manager will be joining us in about a month. Here's some here's some photos of what the cycle looks like for seedlings specifically. So if we can, we'll go out and collect seed locally. We also have folks who volunteer with us and will collect seed throughout the state and send it to us. But we try to collect everything within Montana if we can, and then that allows us to provide different seedlings sourced from different habitat types, different elevations, so that when you're ordering seedlings, you are choosing exactly what works the best for your planting area. And when we go to the website later on, I'll show you where our inventory preview is, and I'll quickly walk through that just to explain how it's broken down. But after we collect and process seed, we then sew that into styrofoam blocks. And that is what the crew in this middle upper photo is doing. They're seeding, I believe, lodgepole pine coated in talc. That helps us seed faster. It keeps the seeds from sticking together as well. They're sewing those into styrofoam blocks, and then the seedlings will grow in those all winter and summer long until the fall when we start packaging them. And I should have mentioned that we start seeding in February. So right now the crew is packaging seedlings. And then once they are done with that, hopefully next week, they're going to ship to sowing. And then it's a big push to get approximately 1 million seedlings sown. And then after seedlings are packaged, they are distributed in the spring to either a county drop-off location, or folks come to the nursery, which is located in Missoula, to pick up their order. So the first place to start, especially when you're trying to procure stock from a nursery like ours, is if your project is conservation. Everything that is utilized from our nursery has to be for a conservation project. Our website has additional examples beyond what is on this PowerPoint. But the most popular conservation projects are post-fire restoration, windbreak and shelter belt development, wildlife and pollinator habitat, and then also erosion control. And erosion control can be on a dry hillside, or we see a lot of stream bank erosion control as well. The best way to put it is that if there is an environmental benefit to your planting, you can buy seedlings from us. We don't sell seedlings wholesale to other nurseries. That goes against the criteria that we have to operate under. Our seedlings cannot be purchased and resold, and they cannot be purchased, then potted up, and then resold. Whoever is buying seedlings from us either has to put it into the ground for their own project, or someone's project that we're helping, or someone's project that they're assisting with. Um, we have a lot of restoration professionals that work for private landowners or entities that come up with planting plans and projects and facilitate that for the landowner, which is allowed. And then planting for aesthetic purposes, we always encourage folks to go to your local nursery. They're going to have a lot more beautiful and a variety of very cool and different plants that you would want for your aesthetic purposes. While our plants are beautiful, they have much better options than we do. And that doesn't mean that you can't procure seedlings from us and plant it on your property if you have a small lot. There is no acreage requirement for procuring seedlings from us, but they just can't be used for aesthetic purposes. These are some visuals of what projects using our seedlings, maybe even seed, look like. So we have a photo of a windbreak and a shelter belt, stream bank erosion control, post-fire restoration, and a native wildflower meadow. So I'm sorry this photo is blurry. It gets used a lot, and that degrades photo quality over time from constantly copying and pasting it. But this is the size examples of the seedlings we sell. So in the upper left-hand corner, those are 10 cubic inch seedlings. That is the smallest size seedling we sell. And in this photo, it looks like we have an aspen, an alder, actually it might be a cottonwood, but some sort of populus, um, a I lost my train of thought, but the one on the end is a buffalo berry. And that's our smallest size seedlings. Conifers typically are a foot tall, where deciduous trees, trees that drop their leaves, will be a lot taller. They grow a lot faster. So then adjacent to that photo is a picture of deciduous trees in the largest size that we sell, which is 175 cubic inches. I think it's about 3/4 of a gallon. It's almost a gallon pot, but not quite. And our pots and plug style seedlings are grown so that they produce long roots. So we use long, skinny pots and styro blocks with long uh, cells in them. And then below, we have the largest size conifers, also in 175 cubic inches. Those are about 2 to 3 feet tall, depending on the year. The deciduous ones can be, gosh, like four or more, but it really varies. Every year, it's a little different. And then there's a size comparison in the lower right-hand corner of a 100 cubic inch seedling down to a 5 cubic inch. And a 5 cubic inch seedling is not something you will see on our inventory, but it is potentially an option for folks who do a contract with us. And I'll talk about contracts in a couple slides. But all of our seed for seedlings is either wild collected or source identified or from Bridger Plant Material Center. Bridger grows and breeds seedlings and seed stock for specific qualities. So, for example, we utilize, when available, the Hunter Select Ponderosa pine from Bridger Plant Material Center. This is a ponderosa that they bred to be extremely cold, wind, and drought tolerant. Unfortunately, we don't currently have that on our inventory this year because we haven't been able to procure seed from that orchard specifically. But that's an example of the type of stock that will come out of Bridger. And then we do produce some non-native species, and those we have to procure from a supplier if we don't have it growing on site. And we get the source for that seed. If we can't wild collect a population, if we go out and try to acquire something and the seed is not viable, or bugs get into it, there's something wrong with the seed and we're not able to utilize it for seedling production, sometimes we have to order that seed from a supplier. So, for example, there was a year where we collected a bunch of aspen seed, millions and millions of seed, and something was wrong with it. It wasn't viable. So then we had to order seed from a supplier. And the closest seed source we could get to Montana was Utah, but we'll always include that information. When you're looking at our ordering portal or our inventory preview, we will always include the source where the seed came from so you can make that decision on if, oh, they don't have Montana aspen this year, but they have Utah, and that's okay for my planting site. But we try to get as much wild collected seed as possible. In seedlings, in the in seedling stock, we produce trees, shrubs, and grasses. Um, there is an old bullet point on here referencing 2025, but we are expecting, I think, to have about 50 different species this year, or close to 50. And then, depending on the size of the seedling, determines how many or how it's sold. As I mentioned earlier, we have to sell our stock in bulk. So anything that is a 10 to 27 cubic inch size seedling, those are sold in multiples of 24. Anything larger than that, 100, 175 cubic inch, those are sold in units of 9. And this is per product. So we might have, and I'll show this later, say 5 different options of Ponderosa Pine West. There, you can't mix and match. Like if you're like, oh, I want 3 from the Ravalli seed source and 3 from the Kalispell seed source and 3 from the Missoula seed source. No, that's not how it works. You have to choose 9 of that specific product. So 9 Missoula seed source Ponderosa or 9 Ravalli seed source Ponderosa. And that'll make a little more sense later when we go into the ordering portal. But everything is sold as the product. There's no mix and matching. And this is important to our operation because this helps keep us efficient. It helps us keep our pricing down because everything is prepackaged. It can be picked up by a staff member and fulfilled easily. We don't have to mix and match from places and pull that order together. It's all very organized, so it can just be grabbed off the shelf of our coolers. Alrighty, so to acquire seedlings, orders will start on January 21st at 8 a.m. for this spring. There is a very high demand for our seedlings. We had 865 customers in 24, and we had over 1,200 in 25. So as I mentioned, I've been here for 3 years and I have seen nothing but exponential growth over these past 3 years. I can't remember what the number was for 23, but it was less than 865. So I tell everyone the number one question I get is, how do I get the seedlings I want? And the only way, the best way to do it is to be ready at 8 a.m. to place your order in the portal. You can open the portal earlier than 8 a.m. And I'm going to show you what that looks like because I think there's been a little confusion about it. You can open it up and you can have the web page up and ready. And I believe you can just refresh your screen when 8 o'clock hits, and then you can place your order. Last year, when I took the password off of the store and opened it up, we had 700 people in there immediately. I do expect to sell out of deciduous trees and shrubs. Anything that fruits or flowers is very popular and will most likely sell out within, if not the first day, within the following days of the sale starting. Conifers, depending on the type, are also in high demand, but they tend to go a little slower. But everything in general goes fast, and the best advice I can give you is to place that order promptly on the 21st at 8 a.m. If you are a new customer, one of the criterias that we have to follow is that there's a minimum for new customers. If you've placed an order from us in the past, no matter how long that period's been, you are still a returning customer. If you were like, oh, I haven't purchased in 10 years, yes, you are still a returning customer. If you move properties, you are still a returning customer. We just have this criteria in place for new first-time customers. And new customers have to place a double order, and that can be two units of large seedlings that come in packs of 9 for a total of 18. You can get 2 packs of 24 for a total of 48, or you can, I don't want to say mix and match, but you can do 9 large or 24 small seedlings. You could do an order of seedlings and a package of seed. That's also fine too. We just ask that you purchase 2 units of something. And then we deliver for free one time in the spring. I will send out a newsletter April 1st that has the delivery schedule, the point of contact for that delivery, the address, all the information you need will be in that newsletter. We'll also have pickup information in that newsletter, and it will have a Google styled scheduler in it. So you can let me know what day you want to pick up your seedlings at the nursery. And then I'll make sure those are ready and waiting for you when you get here. Because like I said, there's a lot of people coming, especially in the spring early on to get their orders. It'll help us stay organized and efficient if I know in advance when you're coming to the nursery. And then we do not ship seedlings to your home. They either have to be picked up at the nursery or delivered to one of our county drop-offs. Alrighty, so we also do contracts for seedlings. It's roughly a 3-year process. So it might be it depends on the species. I encourage folks to reach out to us as soon as possible if you know you need more than 1,000 seedlings, because space is limited for contracts. We do fill up, and we want generally January 1st is kind of like the deadline for contracts for, say, spring of 27 or spring of 28. And like I said, it depends on the species, so I don't want to commit to a specific year. But you need at least 1,000 individuals for a contract. And multiple landowners or entities can go in on a contract together. This doesn't have to be just for one person. You guys can come together for a contract, but we'll just have to make sure we're very intentional about how we organize that just to make sure everything's clear and communication and we all are on the same page. So now we're going to shift to seed. This is what the seed production cycle looks like. We go out generally within Missoula County or slightly beyond just because we're located here and it's easier for us to access Western Montana. We did go to Eastern Montana last year to scout for locations, and we've had volunteers sending us seed for Eastern Montana. But everything that we have right now was sourced from Western Montana. And so we start with wildland seed collection. We try to get 3 different distinct populations, and then we take that seed, propagate it into seedlings, and then we install those seedlings into our fields. It helps us get an edge on the timing so that, because some species, we could potentially get a harvest from them the same year that they're installed. But generally speaking, as plants mature, the quality of seed improves, the amount of seed improves. So getting a head start by starting with already live plants helps us out greatly. And then after those seedlings are installed, they hang out in our fields, they mature, and when end of summer, beginning of fall comes, we start harvesting that seed. And then after that seed is harvested, it's dried down to reduce the moisture in it, and then it's sent through our machinery, which helps us clean the seed even further. And then in this last photo here on the lower left-hand side, there's a bin of smooth blue aster from 2024, I believe, and then a bag of yarrow next to it. So to acquire seed, it's the same as seedlings. They all get processed through the same portal, but things are crazy enough with people trying to acquire their seedlings. I don't want to add to the chaos by also having folks try to get their seed at the same time. So this year, and this is the first year we have seed mixes available, we decided to open seed sales a week before seedling sales start. So on Monday, January 12th at 8 a.m., you will be able to go into the portal and place orders for seed. You can also just go in there and look around if you want to get familiar with the portal before the 21st, but it will show that the seedlings are out of stock because I haven't added that inventory yet. That will happen on the 21st. To ship seed legally, I have to ship it to a Montana address. We can hold on to your seed for you. I know some folks are traveling in the wintertime. If you want us to wait to mail your seed, we can definitely do that. I will always check in before we send out a shipment, just to make sure you're ready to receive that order. Or you can reach out to me and say, hey, I've placed this order. It's been paid for. Can I please receive my seed? And I'll be like, yes, pronto. So you can always check in with me, but I will try to be adamant about checking in with you in advance so that you can get your seed when you need it. And then what makes our seed special is that it's eco-type seed. So when I describe us going out across Montana and collecting different populations of seed to produce here at the nursery, that is eco-type seed because it's specific to Montana. And then we grow our seed using pollinator-friendly practices if we can. This could change in the future, but as of right now, our flowers, our forbs, have not been sprayed. They haven't been fertilized. And then our grasses have not been fertilized either, but some of them are growing in areas where there is a lot of bindweed. And bindweed is a nightmare to control if you've ever had to deal with it. It is extremely rhizomatous, which means that it can sprout new stems from the root. And if you pull the bindweed out of the ground and break that root into pieces, then those rhizomes are going to sprout into additional plants. If you break the root into 4 pieces, then you got 4 different plants. So it's very hard to control. So one of the methods we utilize for controlling bindweed is by spraying it. And I would say we maybe spray 2 to 3 times a year. I think last year I only sprayed once, but we spray at a time. We try to do it early in the morning before pollinators are active and flowers are closed. And then, of course, we want to control the bindweed before it flowers, ideally. So we're very heavy on paying attention to it then as well. But everything we do is very pollinator focused. And if folks who have come out to the nursery for a tour or come out in the future, you will see that our seed plots are just buzzing with life. Like the plot is humming from all the pollinator activity in there. And then on the right-hand side, I took a quick photo of examples of our seedling sizes. So we'll have 1/4 ounces, which is the top packet. And I would say that is a size for like a large garden or maybe a smaller property. And then an ounce is more seed. It depends on how intensely you want to seed, really varies on the seeding rate, but I have some examples here on this next slide. So this is the seed mixes that we plan to have for sale this year. I know there's a lot of words on this slide. This flyer, I tried to pare it down for this presentation, but you can find it on our website as well with this information, because I know it's hard to read the common names with the Latin names right now. But we are looking to have a Western Foothills mix. This is a seed mix designed to be in dry, sunny habitats. Forest Meadow mix is for your forest meadows, where there's breaks in the forest and you might have some more moisture, some more sunlight. That's where these species like to thrive. But of course, they have some plasticity to them. These guidelines are not hard and fast. Like I've found bee balm in a ponderosa forest. So, there is some flexibility here. And then our reclamation mix is made up of our most aggressive species. And you might notice that a lot of pretty much the entire mixes are flowers. There is a little bit of rough fescue in the reclamation mix, but not much. And that's just because we haven't gotten good harvests from our grass plots yet. They were installed this past summer. They're a little slower going than wildflowers, and it's just going to take them a little bit. Grass seed is also can be a little finicky. The grass seed that we thought we harvested this year ended up, they made all the parts of the grass seed, and then when you open it up, there's no actual seed inside. So that happens sometimes too when grasses are stressed. I'm hoping that this season we'll really start to see them take off. And then we will have some single species packets available in the 1/4 ounce size, because I know there's some folks out there who might just want balsam root or blanket flower or some of the more niche, high demand, showy species. We decided to have a couple 1/4 ounce packets with that. And we're still kind of tweaking the seed program. It's very new. So we'll see how things go. We'll see how many mixes we can get established, but this is what we have in production right now. And then on this flyer on the website, that Xerces Society calculator that's highlighted below, that's a clickable link. So you can open up their website, find the link to the calculator, and you can kind of mess with these ratios as well. And you can see the math that determined how much seed would seed an acre. Roughly, the calculator tries to put 20 to 30 plants per square foot is the general guideline. So that was a little bit about the two different types of stock that we sell. I get a lot of questions asking, what plant species should I choose? And we have resources on our website that can help you determine that. I am a big advocate for conservation districts and extension offices that are hosted by your county. They are the best resource for local information. They are the folks closest in proximity to you. They can help you do a soil test. They know what kind of pests and disease are in your county to look out for. And they know what grows well and they know what hasn't grown well. They are a really good source of information. I also like to ask people what is already growing in the ecosystem around you, because that is going to tend to do the best. And then what ecosystem services are you looking to improve? For example, erosion control or water filtration, um, shade to help reduce the temperature of the soil surface. Those are all different things you want to be thinking about when you're trying to choose the best species that will work for you. Here are some additional resources. Of course, I got to put our website on there, but Montana Field Guide, hosted by the Heritage Program, is a really good resource that I use all the time. You can look up a plant species in it, and it'll tell you the range, it'll tell you the habitat type that it can be found in. It's very useful. And then the Montana Native Plant Society is also a wealth of knowledge. This screenshot on the right-hand side is from their plant landscaping in Montana document, which is obviously much larger than what is being shown here, but it has a breakdown of different species, how tall they get, what kind of sun and soil they need or moisture, and then they have some additional information in there for you as well. The best way to hear about what is going on at the nursery is through our newsletter. I send them out maybe a quarter. It kind of depends. I try not, I'll never flood your inbox with spam or clickbait or anything like that. I only send out pertinent information. It saves me time and it saves you time as well. But typically, in January, like yesterday, I'm sending out a newsletter reminding folks of the upcoming sale, the upcoming webinar, and then things will be quiet for a little. If we sell out extremely fast, I might throw out a newsletter there letting folks know, like, hey, we've sold out. Keep your eye out for restock seedlings if an order gets canceled. That's something to also look for. And then in April, as I mentioned earlier, I'll send out delivery, pickup, planting resource information. Sometimes we have things come up, like someone donated a bunch of seedling protector tubes to us, and I sent out an email telling folks, hey, you can come to the nursery and get these protector tubes if you'd like. But most of the time, it's just communication, September, January, April. August, sometimes I send out a newsletter letting folks know when the upcoming sale date will be, because we determine that at the end of summer. All right, so with that, I'm going to navigate to our website. Hopefully it goes smoothly. It's just a little tricky because I have multiple screens. Okay, so this is what you're going to see if you try to enter the ordering portal right now. It is locked. It might ask you to, or I've had some people, think that they've had to make an account or enter using a password. Nope, you don't have to do any of that. It's just locked right now so that only I can access it. So this is what you're going to see. But when the password comes down on the 21st, this is what you'll see. And it might change a little. I am still working on this, updating the inventory and pricing, all that good stuff. But this is what it will look like when you navigate here. And I just realized I skipped a step. We're going to back up and go to the nursery website, because this is how you're going to get to the ordering portal. So when you go to dnrc.mt.gov/, and you actually don't have to put that information in, you can just do nursery and we'll pop right up. Or you can Google us. We're like one of the first websites that appear. All right, so this has some information about the nursery, what we do. We have a page for frequently asked questions. Upcoming events like this webinar can be found here. I have additional photos on the website so you can look at just more images of our facility and the work that we do. And then this box here has all the annual sale information. So this will take you to our ordering page. Then we have our payment page, information about pickup and delivery, and then our catalog and planting resources. And I just want to clarify that the catalog is not necessarily a list of what's available. It's a list of what we produce and how to care for that stock. I'm not going to open it on this webinar because it is a very large document. There's, growing information for every single species we produce in there. There's recommendations, there's information about the nursery. It's a big chunky guy. So I'm not going to open that today, but I encourage you to explore that and read it, especially if you're trying to figure out what seedlings will work best for your location. And then we have a link to the Seed Network page, and then just some fun highlights about work that we're up to. So I'm going to navigate up and we're going to go to the ordering page because this is probably the most important page out of all of them. So here you can find the sale dates. There's a quick link to the ordering portal right here. It's not currently active just because there was a lot of confusion about logins and passwords, so I just took the link off for right now. The portal will be closed down on the 19th and 20th so that I can shift from seed sales to seedling sales. I have to get that inventory ready and just make sure everything's sound and set for the 21st. So if you're ordering seed, make sure you do it before the 19th. And then here we have some previews. And I'm going to open up the seedling inventory preview because we saw a little bit of the seed mix preview before. We're going to click on this one. So this is the inventory preview. I put this out in September every year, and we're going to ignore the seed information and just look at the seedling. So we have a list here of the different species, the size that it's offered in. Some people think this is the number in stock, but this is the size of the seedling. So 10 cubic inch, 175 cubic inch, and then we have the seed source. So all the information here for seed sources and then the price per seedling. So for example, if you want the smallest size aspen, 10 cubic inch, from our Montana seed source, they're $2 a seedling. But as we mentioned, our seedlings are sold in bulk. So that's 2 times 24 for a total of $48. And I'm not going to scroll too far down this, but you can see that there's a bunch of different kinds of sizes and seed sources. So we can have, 4 different options for chokecherry because it comes in different sizes, but also in different seed sources. We're going to navigate back out of this. We're just going to go that. Okay. And then also on this ordering page, there's information about, who can order. You can learn more about contracts. There are lots of examples of conservation projects on here to help you determine if your project is considered conservation. We very seldomly have folks who are trying to buy seedlings that go against our criteria. So I would say place your order, and if I have questions about it, I'll reach out to you. And then here's some more specific information about the seedlings. We went over this, the multiples or units that they're sold in, the sizes, and then there's some quick links for payment, pickup, and delivery. And then same thing for seed. And I'm just going to navigate to our resources page quickly so you guys can see that. So I'm going to navigate back to the home page, scroll down. I'm sorry if folks are sensitive to motion like I am. And I'm going to open up both of these actually. So when you select payment, here are the payment options. You can mail us a check. There's no fee for mailing a check, or you can pay online with a debit or credit card. There is a fee based on your order total. And last year, if you're a returning customer, you might have experienced some errors with this payment portal. We got some sort of security something happened and we had to have folks log in or create an account to make a payment. But IT was really awesome and worked with me to create this portal so that when you select it, it won't ask for a login anymore. It'll ask what the name is on your order. You'll hit submit, and then it'll take you straight to the payment page, and you can enter in the cost of your seedlings. It'll determine your surcharge. And then when you select next, you'll be able to fill out your billing information. And then the next page is your card information. Once you complete this, I get a notification. It goes straight to us because it's earmarked for the nursery. So I'll know that your payment is received. And then if you have additional questions or if you think maybe something happened, you can, of course, reach out to me. But I'll get a notification when that payment comes in, and I'll mark your order as paid. I'm not sure if the ordering portal will notify you, but have no fear. If we don't get paid, I will be in contact in March. All right, so to pickup and delivery, this is where you can find pickup information. So for example, we'll start pickups for spring at the nursery April 14th. Then when our county drop-off delivery schedule is available, I'll post it on here. A button will appear to open up the delivery schedule, but I'll also email it out to you. And I always email stuff the same day that I put it on the website. So when I'm notifying you, that information can be found on the website. And then there's some extra information in here as well. But let's navigate over to the ordering portal. I have to do a little more formatting and editing on this. But when you come into the portal, this is what it'll look like. And to place an order, you'll select this button here that says click here to order. And then all of the products will appear. We also have categories. And as much as I love having these categories, it may not be the best option the day of the sale. If you are like, oh, I don't care what the species is, I just want something that's cold tolerant, or I'm just looking for conifers, then yes, this might be helpful for you. And then we also have a box for seed as well in here. But this is very user-friendly here, and it is sorted alphabetically. You can also sort by availability. So I have two demo products live right now. The rest are still saying out of stock because I'm still working on the portal. You can filter to see just in stock products. So we're going to unselect that. You can also sort by price, but everything is the same price. It doesn't vary by species. And there's also a search bar. This is also really helpful. So you can start typing and it will bring up the options that match those letters. So you don't even have to type in the full word. And you can select Ponderosa West. So this is an example of what multiple sizes and seed sources and elevations look like. And how I mentioned earlier, where you can't mix and match, this is an example of that. You have to get 24 of the Missoula 3,400-foot Ponderosa, or 24 of the Ravalli 3,700-foot Ponderosa. We also have a live inventory, so you can see how many units are available. And remember, each unit is either 24 or 9, and we have that included here, so you can see that. And then we also have, I try to include as much information as possible, even though things got to be fast and quick the day of the sale. This information is here, and I would encourage you to come back to this information so you can see pictures. And I don't know if this is going to, yeah, it's a little big on my computer screen. Whoops. But I try to include increments of size and species. So Rocky Mountain juniper, blue spruce, thin leaf alder, lodgepole pine. The plug of a 10 cubic inch seedling is 6 inches long, and the above ground height for 1 foot mark is roughly right here. And then it also right here indicates the seedling size. And then we have the bigger seedlings as well. These pictures are, I think, on, or they should be on every product listing for seedlings. And I try to include other pictures that might be useful as well, like what the cones look like, what the fall foliage looks like, if they have berries, what that looks like. I just want to provide you with as much information as possible. There's a reminder that our seedlings are sold in specific quantities. And then we also have growing information. This is the same information that's in our catalog. So this is actually a good example of what the catalog looks like. It has all this information for each species. We're just going to scroll up a little. This is a link to field guides, that website I mentioned earlier, hosted by the Heritage Program. And you can see, like I said, the range, more information about it, lots of pictures. You can even see density and how recently they've been seen observation-wise. We're just going to go back. And then, so you're like, great, I want this ponderosa. You can select the number of units you would like to order, and then you'll select add to cart. And every time you add something to your cart, it's going to take you to this window. So I think this is where the search feature really comes in handy, because now you can search for your next species. But we're going to just add ponderosa to our cart for now. This is the conservation verification check. We need you to describe what you're using the material for. I will give you a pass if it's the day of the sale and it is busy and you just want to get your order placed. That's totally fine. But email me your conservation verification so that I can add it to your order for you. If it's empty, I will reach out asking for that information. And you don't have to write us a storybook. It can be as simple as windbreak or pollinator habitat. That's fine. We'll leave that in for now. Then when you're ready to check out, you'll select this checkout button and it'll take you to this page. You'll enter in your email. And this is an important part. So if you're going to pick up at the nursery, you can select pickup and it has our address here. But if you want your seedlings delivered to a county drop-off, leave ship selected. And then after you fill out your information, just give me 1 second. Oops, that's company name. I was wondering why the pop-up featured, there we go. So it'll help you fill out your address as well. One thing I should note that I almost forgot is that if something sells out while you are adding things to your cart or you are in this page checking out, if something sells out, it's going to automatically be taken out of your cart. And a pop-up is going to appear that says, for example, Ponderosa Pine West is no longer available. There is no way for me to set up a ordering portal or online store that reserves the material in your cart. It's just way beyond most technological capabilities. It's a feature I would love to introduce one day, but it's just not possible right now. So with that being said, in our information, that's our nursery's phone number. And then after you fill out your address information, the county drop-offs will appear. This won't appear until you put your address in, because it's mainly set up for traditional online stores. I've had to tweak this to meet our system. And for some reason, this doesn't show up until you put your address in. So you can select the county that you want your order delivered to. I have the address here just to help you make sure that you are selecting the right location, but don't worry about this address. I'm going to provide this information to you in April when the delivery schedule is available. So we're just going to go to the very bottom, say we want it delivered to Valley County. Another important part is that this is just a portal. This is just to capture and organize your order. We're not going to take payment at this time because the state has its own payment processor system, or you can mail us a check. We want to make sure folks still have an option for check payment. And if I forced you to process payment through the portal, check would not be an option. So don't worry about payment right now. You have time. Just worry about getting your order placed. Once March 1st rolls around and I haven't received your payment, then I'll start sending you reminders like, hey, remember us? Want your seedlings? Mail us a check. Um, and then if your billing address is different than your shipping address, you can put that in here as well. An important thing to note, when I said that seed would be shipped to you directly, because I didn't add seed to this order, it doesn't show it. But if there is a shipping fee, it's only for seed. Seedlings, there will never be a shipping fee. But for seed, if we're mailing it to you, we are going to charge you for postage on that. And then I think, oh, and then with your shipping address, that's the address we're going to use to mail your seed to. But I will do my best to confirm with you that that is the address you want the order to go to. But because we really like to keep things efficient here, I really encourage you to, for your shipping address, if you're buying seed, use the address you want the seed to go to. And then with that, we'll complete the order and your order has been placed. The process is done. Your order is confirmed for you. The ordering portal generates this, excuse me, confirmation number. I'm still trying to figure out how to remove that. I have a different confirmation number for you. And you can just give me your name, your address, your phone number. I can look you up through a variety of ways. It doesn't have to be through a confirmation number. And then it has all the information here. You can go back to the store if you want. But with that, that is a run through of the portal. I'm just going to switch my screen back. And then we can start opening it up to questions. If folks want to put a question in the chat, that's all the material I have to share with you. And we can now address any questions that folks have. And I'm going to give folks a minute to add their questions in the chat while I switch back to my webinar. There we go. Alrighty, first question. For the seed mix, would the reclamation mix be good for partly shady areas, or is it mostly full sun areas? Let's go back to the mixes so we can look at them. So this reclamation mix is more suited for a sunny habitat, but part shade is fine. They should be okay in part shade. Someone asked, they said that they are a nonprofit with a P.O. box mailing address. Is this acceptable as a business address? Yes, you can put in a a P.O. box for mailing. We have a lot of folks who use a P.O. box for their orders or for their communications. And those are the only two questions I've received so far. So that's why I'm a little quiet, is I'm just waiting to see if there's any questions. If folks are ready to sign off, totally fine. Thank you for attending and for sharing your time with me. You can, of course, I should have included my contact information on here, but you can email our nursery email. You can give us a call. That information is at the bottom of every nursery webpage. And I might bring it up real quick, actually, in case folks need it. There's our office information. Thank you. Someone asked, are there recommendations or strategies as things seem to go fast? They do go fast, and the best recommendation I have is that placing your order on the 21st right at 8 a.m. There really is no other way to acquire seedlings earlier or faster. I get asked a lot if folks can place an order before the sale starts, and I say no, because then we would just start the sale earlier then, because we like to keep it fair for everyone. We operate on a first come, first served basis. Someone asked if they can pre-fill their request and then submit on the morning of. You cannot, because the store is locked to prevent folks from ordering in advance of the 21st at 8 a.m. There isn't a way to pre-fill. Someone asked how many pounds of balsam root is recommended for 10 acres of dry land with a drainage/bench ground. That is a question I will have to follow up with you on. And you can email that over to mtnursery@mt.gov, and I can look at a calculator and determine the seeding rate for 10 acres of balsam root. You can also place multiple orders. Some folks, they place an order and then something else comes back in stock, or you decide you want to add another species or product to your order. You can place another order and I'll combine those orders for you. There might be a little lag time just because there's one of me and over 1,000 people. But I will see that you have placed two orders and I'll do my best to combine those orders. We can also keep them separate if you want. If folks are ordering seed and seedling, most likely you'll have two separate orders just because there's no need to combine seed and seedling orders. Those get fulfilled by two different groups of people. Someone asked, what is the difference between Ponderosa East and Ponderosa West? That's a great question, and I should have clarified that during the presentation. Ponderosa East is Ponderosa seed that was acquired east of the divide, and that's what we recommend for folks in eastern Montana. Any product that has east in it means that it was derived from an eastern seed source east of the divide, and that is the seed source you should choose for your planting. And then, of course, same thing for Ponderosa West. It comes from west of the divide. That's what we recommend for western plantings. Folks, public individuals who want to practice, sorry, someone asked if they could practice filling out an order somehow. There isn't really a way to practice right now. The portal will open on Monday at 8 a.m. for folks ordering seeds. So you could go in and click around and get familiar with it if you want to practice that way. And then, as I mentioned earlier, it will close down on the 19th and 20th. So I can prep and organize things for the launch of the seedling sale on the 21st. Someone is asking if there will be sufficient inventory of Canada Red chokecherry for 2026. Because the crew is still packaging seedlings, I don't have the numbers yet. And that's actually one of the reasons why we moved our seedling sale to January. Folks who have been ordering with us for some time now might remember that we used to do it in the fall, in September or October. But we moved it to January just because we don't have the inventory numbers yet. A lot of things are estimates. By moving the sale to January, we have a more accurate inventory, and I don't have to worry about, say, removing 100 or adding 200 seedlings because packaging is finished and now we either have more or less seedlings than we thought we would have. But I think we will have probably over 1,000 Canada Red chokecherries for 2026. Alrighty. Someone asked if you need a pound of balsam root, do you just order 4 units of a 1/4 ounce? If you order 4 units of a 1/4 ounce, it'll be a 1 ounce of balsam root seed. We Yeah, we don't have larger quantities of the balsam root available. If enough folks are interested in bigger balsam root quantities, we can work on that for future sales. But right now, the only way to just get balsam root is per 1/4 ounce. Someone asked, could you break down the purchase requirements for first-time buyers again? Does the double order mean a buyer needs to purchase at least 2 units of a species sold in the 24 count and the 9 count to qualify to buy seedlings from the DNRC? So I'm going to pull up the PowerPoint because I think this might be a better way to explain. So it can be two of any product. It can be a batch of 9 seedlings and a batch of 24 seedlings, or it can be 2 batches of 9 seedlings, or 2 batches of 48 seedlings. You just have to purchase 2 products. It can be anything, just 2 of anything. You could even get, say, actually, we can open this back up. Go to here. So for example, you could add 24 10 cubic inch Missoula Ponderosa, and then you could do 24 27 cubic inch Ponderosa. It's just any 2 products. Someone asked, can you write the check when you come in person to pick up your order? Yes, you can pay in person when you're picking up your order, but I will send you payment reminders until you pay us because you're going to be on my list of payments not received. And I tend to harass the pickup folks less because I know some folks are paying at pickup. And if you are getting reminders from me and they're very annoying, feel free to respond to me and let me know that you're going to pay at pickup, and I'll do my best to take you off my list. But sometimes delivery season gets a little crazy, and I like to hedge my bets by making sure I'm sending out lots of reminders for folks. Someone wants to know if the slideshow is available after this somewhere. Yes, this is being recorded and it will be posted on the resources page of our website. And I will show you. So when you go to our homepage, if you scroll down to browse our catalog and planting resources, it'll be right at the top of this webpage. Someone asked if there's a way to check if they are in the system if they can't recall. There isn't a way to check, if I'm understanding the question correctly. But you can reach out to me and ask, and I can look and check our order records to see if you have ordered from us before. But to the person asking this question, I recognize your name and I know you're a returning customer, so you are all set. Someone asked, I might have missed this, but when will the catalog of seedlings be available for browsing prior to ordering? I can't seem to find it. So this is the catalog right here. And it's a very large document. So we'll see if it opens. It's going pretty quick right now, which is surprising. But the catalog is available year-round. Now, some folks get the catalog confused with the inventory preview, which can be found on the ordering page. And I'm going to select that. So this is the inventory preview. Some folks think this is the catalog, and I'm sorry, there should not be seed information on here. I broke it out so they'd be on their own documents, but sometimes you have to clear your browsing history to see new materials, and I might need to do that. But this is the list of what we expect to have available this year. And then, oh yeah, the catalog crashed because it is such a large document. I am working on a way to try and make the catalog more accessible. It's unfortunately gigantic and just keeps growing. I'm just going to leave this page up for now. Someone asked, do we pick up the grass seed the same time as the seedlings in April? Yes, you can pick up your seed the same time you are picking up your seedlings. I will just clarify that we don't have any grass seed mixes at this time. We just have wildflower mixes, and one of those mixes having a light grass component in it. Hopefully, in the future, we can offer grass mixes or um, more quantities of grass. And then recommendations for planting grass seed. You can seed almost any time of year. There's different methods for it, but I'm going to show you. Let's see, so this is the home page. We're going to go to the planting resources. There's a transportation and care guide here. If you select that, and I'm sorry, I should have mentioned this during my presentation. Sometimes when you're doing this for years and years, you forget little details because it's just like second nature. But this is the care and planting guide. This has information about pickup, transportation, and storage. Um, I will have to double check and make sure the information in here is still accurate. It should be. But sometimes little things change every year. I try to include as much information as possible, lots of photos. But if you scroll through the seedling material, there is pages for seed. So there's information here about how to broadcast seed. And then there's also some information about like if you want to take the seed and like start some plants with it. We put that in there because last year we were just, excuse me, selling individual species. And I know some folks wanted to try and grow seedlings from it. I'll go through though and make sure that this is up to date. I will say that, excuse me, that seed is, it could have its own uh, planting and care guide. There's this information on here is things that you should be thinking about and researching when seeding. But there is recommendations on when to seed, fall and spring being the most popular, just because summer can get very hot and dry. Someone asked, oh, someone mentioned that the catalog is dated for 23 and 24. Yes, I have been meaning to take that date off of it. At first, I thought the document was going to change with each sales cycle, but then I realized that there really isn't changes and there isn't a need for a date on it. So that will come off because the information in there is the same no matter the year. And then someone asked if a conservation plan can be submitted before the sale start date. Yes, we don't really have folks do that, but you could submit your conservation plan in advance. Um, the only thing I worry about is potential confusion because then it's on me to make sure I add X number of conservation plans to the orders. I would actually prefer if you just place your order and then send me the conservation plan so then I can immediately go right in and add it to your order. Would you suggest east or west ponderosa for planting at a location sitting right on the continental divide? Would it make a significant difference going with one versus the other? I've gotten this question before, and we tend to go with the eastern ponderosa variety. Um, and if you want, you can reach out to me directly and I can talk further with our head grower and make sure that that information is accurate. But it's only happened a couple of times where this question's come up, and I believe we went with the Eastern Ponderosa. And with the seed source information, you can also look and see like maybe if there's a specific county or elevation range that matches your planting, that might be better too. You are welcome. That is all the questions I have received so far. So if anyone has any last minute burning questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. Um, if not, you can reach out to me either by phone or by email. There is only one phone line and one of me, so sometimes it does take a little bit for me to get back to you, especially the week of a sale starting. Our phone is kind of ringing off the hook. But I always encourage folks to leave a voicemail because that will get you a place in line. And then as I'm going through the voicemails, I will get back to you. If folks call and don't leave a voicemail, I tend to not call back because sometimes the information they're looking for is in our voicemail message, like when the sale start date is or something like that. You are all welcome. Thank you. All right. It seems like we got all the questions out of the way. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Like I said, reach out anytime with questions, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. And with that,